everyone is saying that India is a bright spot. So what factors do you feel is the reason for this, and will this continue in this calendar year?
So if you look at in terms of GDP performance, the IMF forecast, if you look at between 2023 to 2027, India will be the fastest growing major economy of the world. So that has created the impression that India will be the brightest spot in an otherwise gloomy global environment. Now, why India is doing better than others? First of all, you have to understand our inflation, though it picked up, it was nothing compared to the kind of pickup which happened in the OECD countries. Say, for example, in some of the OECD countries, the inflation was 4 decade. In some cases, it's 7 decade high. Whereas in India, inflation was never even a decade high. So consequently, the extent of monetary tightening which was required in relative sense in India was not so much as it was in other countries. So interest rate increase, and also if you look at the bank interest rates in India, from the bottom it has gone up less than 1 percentage point. So the transmission of monetary tightening in India has been rather limited in the credit market. So cost of fund has not gone up significantly. This is one thing. And if you look at the strong domestic demand, both consumer demand as well as fixed investment demand, that's something which is sustaining India's GDP growth. Though the drag is coming marginally from government consumption turning negative, but at any case, government consumption is not a very big component of GDP. But the bigger drag is actually coming from net exports. Our exports have started contracting, while our imports are still growing. So consequently, our trade deficit is rising. And if you look at in terms of our net export has turned, it was always negative. It has turned far more negative now. So that's the drag which is coming. As I said, according to IMF, India's outperformance in terms of growth will continue, and so therefore we think India will remain a bright spot of the in the global economy. But having said that, it's not that we don't have any problem. For example, I just flagged that high goods trade deficit and consequently the current account deficit is a major concern. Second, the manufacturing activities in India has slowed down very significantly. Here one has to understand that 20% of our manufactured products are actually exported. 75% of our overall exports are manufactured products. So consequently, the slowdown in global demand and also the increase in protectionism, whereby countries are trying to localize their production. So basically, they are trying to do import substitution. So that is also impacting exports by India, and so that is also impacting manufacturing activities. So that is also, apart from the external account balance, the performance of the manufacturing sector is a concern. Now, as I just said before, in India, fixed investment was doing very well. If you look at till September, if you look at the fixed investment in real terms was growing more than 10%. But if you look at the recent data on investment, the monthly data on investment, for example, if you look at areas such as proposed investment, if you look at areas such as implemented investment, if you look at fund raised by the corporate sector from the equity market, if you look at fund raised by corporate sector from the debt market, all these indicators are suggesting that there is some kind of slowdown which is happening in India's investment activity. So with the exception of strong growth in bank credit towards corporates, all other investment indicators are suggesting that there is some level of slowdown which is happening. So that's also another area of concern. But as I said, on the balance, India will grow 6%, about 6% during 2023, and that will be the best growth. So in comparative terms, India's position will continue.